All right, it's time to give a huge shout out to the sponsor of today's episode, happyhippo.com. So if you guys haven't checked this out, you got to go to happyhippo.com because they have some of the highest quality kratom products that I've ever come across. And if you guys aren't familiar with what kratom is, it's an herbal substance that has many different uses, everything from a balanced mind to energy. It can help you relax. And my wife and I, over the last couple of weeks, have tried out some of their products. And I have to say, it has improved her sleep specifically. She's very anxious and her mind runs at night, and it has helped her fall asleep and stay asleep. She actually was using one of the powders that comes in a pouch from Happy Hippo and just dropped it into her water, and off she went, and she was just she was very happy. Let me just put it that way. And so myself, during the workday, if you guys didn't know, I have a big boy job. I work in contract management, and I need that balance. I need the energy during the day, and they have something called Hyper Hippo and an energy shot. Those energy shots come in those little tiny bottles. You guys are familiar with it from other brands that use that type of packaging, but there's nothing like this, all right? This energy shot, I take it, easy to take, and within minutes, I feel the effects. There's no massive crash after I take it either, which is a huge deal, right? How many energy drinks have you taken and coffee have you drank throughout the day that just leads to the massive crash? Well, this doesn't, and it's an all-natural herb. And I'm telling you right now, it will help you get through your day. It can help you relax, depending on the type of product you're looking for. Happy Hippo delivers. And guess what? Right now, if you have an order of 200 or more, you can get free next day FedEx shipping. And also, their stuff tastes great. So check out happyhippo.com. Support the WWE podcast and Happy Hippo. And do yourself a favor as well, guys. I'm telling you right now, if it can help my wife go to sleep, for somebody as anxious as she is and as somebody that needs as much energy as I do during the day to do this podcast and to do my job during the day. And right now, you can save 15% on your entire order by using promo code WWE15. That's right, WWE15 will get you 15% off of your entire order. And starting August 28th, they are having their largest sale of the year on their Hyper Hippo product, 40% off. So you'll definitely want to check them out then. But anytime you can use WWE15 as your promo code to get 15% off your entire order. Check out happyhippo.com, whether you're trying to relax or whether you need energy or balance during the day. Happyhippo.com.
This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is the one that everybody wants, me. Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore! Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Welcome to the WWE Podcast, everybody. It is time for the weekend review here, and a lot to get to as it was a massive week in WWE, one that I don't think we saw coming of this caliber. And how quickly John Cena's return, the greatest of all time, as we're told every week, is overshadowed instantly. Nia Jax's return were overshadowed instantly. And what were they overshadowed by? Well, of course, the return of The Rock. We're going to get to that in just a minute. But first, I want to thank you guys for joining me here on the show, and also give the latest patrons a shout out. I want to give a shout out to our new trial patron, Seth. Hope you join us on the other side of things after your trial, and also Mark S. And I think that's it for the time being. And Mark and Seth, welcome to the family. And if you guys need anything, let me know. You guys have the Discord server. You have ad-free everything. You have the Anthony DeMarco ad-free Anthony DeMarco show that we do now every Friday for After Dark. So the first one was published this Friday. So enjoy that. And I'm starting to do more video, as you guys have seen on the Patreon side of things. I gave my instant reaction to The Rock. And also I post something else. I can't remember what it was, but I'm starting to do video, and that is for the SmackDown tier and above. So, all right, well, let's dive into it, everybody. The Rock. I mean, I'm not going to dance around it. I'm not going to wait till the end of the show. I'm just going to talk about The Rock. Now, unfortunately, the internet ruined this one for me, as it does so many returns. And the reason is I saw clips going viral instantly about The Rock talking about WrestleMania 40, and he was on the Pat McAfee show earlier that day, and he was in Denver. And the rumors started circulating, and the rumors instantly started coming out. The Rock's backstage. He's coming to SmackDown. And I'm like, well, it kind of makes sense because he's in the city or in the area of SmackDown. We're getting close to WrestleMania season where people start to think about it at least. And, you know, he's on Pat McAfee's show, one of the biggest podcasts in the world right now, right? And also the content of what they were talking about. The Rock brought up WrestleMania 40. He said it's in Philly. He gave kind of a smile about it and pretty much locked it in. Now, he didn't say it, but he's not going to say it. You don't say those things. You show them on TV. But also talked about how in SoFi Stadium last year that it was locked in to face Roman Reigns, and the reason that it didn't actually happen is because The Rock didn't feel that they could come up with, or the entire creative team and management and Vince didn't feel like they could come up with something that was not just the end of something, but the beginning of something and do something more than and bigger than a match. And I understand that logic, that if you're going to do this, one of the biggest fantasy matches of all time, you want to do it more than just a match and a program and wham bam, Rock wins or loses, and you know he's gone after the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, right? Back to Hollywood, which is essentially what's going to happen no matter what happens. Now, the only thing I can think of that would be bigger and the beginning of something is if The Rock beats Roman Reigns, but I don't actually think anybody wants that if the title's on the line. I've been saying that for years now. If the title's on the line, Rock should not win. But to me, it's already by default bigger than just a match. The fans have already built this up in their minds so much, and this program up in their minds so much, and what it could mean, and the storyline is so right there for the taking. There's not much thought that needs to be put into it from just a foundational standpoint anyway of why is The Rock facing Roman? We all know the reason. But this is already bigger. So like if their excuse is, well, we couldn't think of anything bigger than just a match with Roman, and it's not just the end, it's the beginning of something. I'm sorry, it's kind of lame. It's a lame excuse for me. The fans honestly don't need it to be bigger. They just want the match. They want the program. They want the promos. I think they're overthinking this. I feel like the WWE management, if that's true that they couldn't come up with something last year, and if it doesn't happen this year, if that's the reason, it's lame. It's lame sauce is what it is, and I don't buy it. This match writes itself. The program writes itself. The storyline writes itself. The match, we're not expecting a 5-star classic, but should be fun, slower pace, near falls, lots of finish kickouts, hopefully no outside interference, and win, lose, or draw. The Rock leaves after the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. And it doesn't need to be more than that. I don't know why they think it does, but moving on to the actual segment with The Rock. Now, Pat McAfee is a fan favorite. He's beloved. And he's, I think one of the reasons that makes him so appealing is he's just kind of his goofy self. You can tell he's not acting. You can tell this is like who he is. He thoroughly enjoys what he's doing. And that authentic personality and love of what he's doing comes through. And I think that is a massive appeal to the crowd and human beings watching, because we can sense when something is more often than not, when something's phony. And this with Pat is not phony. He loves this. He obviously has a million other projects going on. He's got his own show that's massively successful. Pat is a fun dude to watch, no doubt about it. He's an entertainer by heart, or at heart, and naturally. So he comes out, and Austin Theory follows suit pretty quickly, and you kind of see where first of all, I don't. Why are all three men wearing black tank tops? I don't know. I guess I missed the memo that night that everyone must be wearing black tank tops. But Austin Theory comes out. He said it was Austin Theory live, and then he said he's 26. He's everywhere, and all McAfee had at 26 was a mugshot. And Theory said that he had unfinished business, and he was going to drop him right now because he wasn't sure who he thought he was, and he would send him back injured to his football show like the injured Aaron Rodgers. McAfee said he wasn't going to do anything and had no interest fighting. Okay, so let's see here. So McAfee said this wasn't Austin Theory live. It was the People's Show. And he asked if he knew what that meant. And then The Rock came out. Just a mind-boggling, massive reaction. But it's been 4 years, I believe, since The Rock did come back. I think the last appearance he had was on SmackDown against Corbin for the premiere of SmackDown on Fox. I think that was the last time. So it's been quite a bit. Or as the kids would say, a hot minute. So The Rock grabbed the mic and a lot of holy S chants, which were cut off by Fox. Half this segment was cut off by Fox and USA and all the other networks because of the profanity, and not just the crowd chants that The Rock helped initiate, but also the actual words that The Rock was saying. However, The Rock did his finally bit, and the Denver crowd was completely losing their minds. But Austin Theory cut him off and said, finally, Austin and Rock are back in the ring together. And he was a real Austin, an ass kicker and he would take up the whole Mount Rushmore. And Theory told The Rock he doesn't matter what he says, and The Rock says it actually does matter what he says, and it matters what the people say. He then worked through a bit where he had one half of the audience say "you are," and the other half was an a-hole. And honestly, it's it was just, I'm not a fan of this actually. The Fox censors were, very, very busy that night. And actually, you couldn't even hear what they were saying. The crowd, when you watch it after this, if you watch it in post-production after the show, they just took out the chants completely and made just generic crowd noise. You couldn't hear anything. It was unusable. But I don't even like this kind of stuff, actually. And also, there's a lot of kids in the audience, right? Like, being a father myself, I actually kind of feel that part of it now. If you're a dad bringing a young child or a young daughter or whatever the case, if you're under the age of 12, you're probably, you might have heard the word, but if you, especially younger, 5 to 10 years old, I don't know if I'd want my kids hearing that stuff. I don't know. It's PG, I understand, but if The Rock is eliciting this and it goes on for several minutes, I don't know. Not a fan of this stuff. I'm not trying to bring this segment down. I didn't like it so much. But Rock said Theory came down to the ring to run the people on the Rock show, the People's Show, and in 3 seconds, The Rock would whoop his candy ass all over Denver, and Theory tried to jump the gun, and he got a spine buster, and then The Rock hit the People's Elbow, and then so did McAfee. So crowd goes wild. This is a lot of fun, despite the fact that The Rock still has, elementary insults. He's still The Rock. If you took the content of his promo and stuck it with anybody else, we would have said this was an awful promo. But it's because it's The Rock, the way he delivers it. He's a magnetic personality, one of the biggest stars, if not the biggest star in the world, one of the most recognizable faces in the world now. He's the king of Hollywood. He's at the top of the mountain. We know all this, right? But it's because it's The Rock that he is able to pull off what an otherwise content-wise promo is kind of lame. He comes up with a-hole. When you have to resort to name calling, you've lost the battle, right? When you resort to name calling and cheap low blows like that, it's kind of like you don't have anything else creative to say, so you kind of have to resort to that to make yourself sound like you're a tough guy. And again, I'm not running down The Rock. It's just that the promo from The Rock didn't impress me. But I'm not complaining at all because he didn't have to be there. He did not have to show up. He's in Boulder on an ESPN interview with Pat McAfee, that many of you have seen. And so cool, massive bump in ratings. I guess social media exploded. Good for podcasters like myself, right? Good for anybody creating content. It gave us a lot to talk about, a lot of boost in viewerships and sponsors and all that kind of thing, which is good. But here's what I want to talk about more than just The Rock's appearance is I think we can finally, pun intended, I guess, finally talk about Roman and Rock. I think it's time we can seriously talk about this now. Now, things could turn, but The Rock publicly saying on a show before WrestleMania, not going in silence and hiding and doing his movies and not talking about it, but actually publicly kind of giving a wink and nod about WrestleMania 40 before showing up on SmackDown is a big deal. And I think we can say with high confidence, not 100%, but high confidence, Roman and Rock is happening. And it's happening at WrestleMania 40. I think we can finally say that, because anything else of The Rock appearing here, other than, oh, it's a one-off and he was nearby, that's cool. Sure, that's a possibility. That's definitely a possibility. But I think we can finally say it now. It's time. Let's get this match underway. From what I understand, though, The Rock isn't going to be there for a while in WWE. He's not going to be there on like an every other week or, you know, any of that time schedule. He's probably going to take some time back and, you know, do what he's been doing with his schedule and his life, and probably reappear late this year, from what I understand. Of course, there's rumors circulating about CM Punk now and his interview, or he, you know, I forget where I saw the clip, but Punk did say, I'll be free for the next 2 months. What's the next 2 months? What does that put us at? Survivor Series in Chicago. So Punk knows what he's doing there. You know, lots to talk about here, guys. Lots of returns happening right now. It's kind of an avalanche of returns and lots to talk about. But from what I understand, don't expect to see The Rock for at least a couple more months. And then at that point, he'll start ramping things up with Roman. I would imagine after the event in Saudi Arabia in November, and maybe just after Survivor Series, you'll start to really hear and see things from The Rock again to ramp up to Roman and Rock at 40. Maybe they wait till January after the Rumble, but that's my assumption. And from what I understand, that's where they're going. So let's do this, right? Alrighty, let's get to the next segment here. AJ Styles and Finn Balor. Now, this is not a SmackDown only review. You guys can hear Michael Ritter, who did a great job covering SmackDown with one of the biggest review shows of all time. You know, our download numbers exploded, but I mean, I think I have to credit that to The Rock and Michael Ritter, who does a great job. But it was, you know, thank you, Rock. Okay, but hey. The next segment here with AJ Styles and Finn Balor, I really enjoyed. This was a solid matchup, one that you knew was going to be solid, you know, from the ground up. You knew this wasn't going to be sloppy. The only downside to this was it was only about 8 minutes. Not enough time to tell a great story. And this ended with Finn Balor beating AJ Styles, and that was because Jimmy Uso jumped on the apron and ended up colliding with Styles. Balor then pulled him into a crucifix pin for the win. And again, these two could go 25, 30 minutes. And even in the short time they had, I think they did a really good job here. But a lot of kind of outside stuff. And after the match, Balor escaped to rejoin Dom and Priest, and Jimmy smiled at what he had done. So this was, again, not the match of the century, but it did what it needed to do with these two professionals, I thought. All right, Rock backstage after this, and he was he came face to face with John Cena, which was cool. They hugged it out. You know, that program is obviously not going to be resurrected. No need for it. And in the ring, LWO was there. Rey Mysterio spoke and said he was grateful for the LWO teaching him what a family was all about again. Did he suddenly forget he has a wife and a daughter? He has to remember what a family is like. I know what he's referencing, of course, Dominic, but are you completely discrediting your wife and daughter? All right. Anyway, Santos Escobar then spoke up and he told Rey he was happy he took his place in his match against Austin Theory. He said it's always been a dream of him to face off against Rey. And he asked him respectfully for a U.S. Championship match, and Rey Mysterio agreed. But Bobby Lashley's music hit. He came out with the Street Profits and said they had tag teams falling apart and teams having weird love fests in the ring. He said they were there, they were going to take over, and Cruz del Toro then spoke up and said if they were looking for a fight, they shouldn't be standing 50 feet away, and demanded they get in the ring, and the referees came down. So the LWO, Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro versus the Street Profits happened, and the Street Profits defeated the LWO at about 30 seconds. Bit disappointing here. It was, yeah, I think this got a bit of a cut because of the Rock segments throughout the night that maybe weren't planned, but this was a bit disappointing, one that I'm sure it will be revisited. So I'm not going to hammer WWE too much about this, other than to say this is kind of a preview of what's to come. But by the way, there were no direct interactions between The Rock and the Bloodline. Nothing that you could really draw a line to yet, but other than the segment with Jimmy was directly after The Rock. So production-wise, maybe you could. So there is that. All right, LA Knight versus The Miz then happened, and this match was a little longer at 11 minutes with LA Knight beating The Miz. I really enjoyed the match here. It and credit to The Miz, who certainly did his part in this match, and always really does. As much as I don't like his character, and I still can't ever not look at him as a real world character, and the fact that he has not aged in 20 years doesn't help him. He still looks like he has a very young face and all of that. I don't think he ever fully got rid of the reality star stink on him. It just never left him. And that's just what it is. But this match here, hey, I can't blame anybody here or talk negatively about this. This was exactly what it needed to be. A solid in-ring performance once again from Knight, and beating The Miz clean. No wonky outside stuff. No happenstance. It was LA Knight straight up beating The Miz as it should be. Because at this juncture in the LA Knight rise, there's just no need for any wonky stuff. It's just, let's get going. Not that he needs to be champion tomorrow, but it's a let's get going kind of thing. Now, the most interesting part of this wasn't even the match, which LA Knight won, and he should. But it was LA Knight getting on the mic after the match and said when he came to SmackDown, he was coming for gold. He called out Gunther, Rey Mysterio, Seth, and then said, I don't even care if it's Roman Reigns. And he said he's top 2, but he's not number 2, which was a good line. But he basically made a declarative mission statement that I'm here for gold. All champions should watch their back. But for him to actually mention Roman Reigns by name for the first time was something. Now, what do they do? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they do here with LA Knight. I have a theory, and I'm going to give you that theory right after this break and a word from the sponsor, so stay right here. All right, it's time to give a huge shout out to the sponsor of today's episode, happyhippo.com. So if you guys haven't checked this out, you got to go to happyhippo.com because they have some of the highest quality kratom products that I've ever come across. And if you guys aren't familiar with what kratom is, it's an herbal substance that has many different uses, everything from a balanced mind to energy. It can help you relax. And my wife and I, over the last couple of weeks, have tried out some of their products. And I have to say, it has improved her sleep specifically. She's very anxious and her mind runs at night, and it has helped her fall asleep and stay asleep. She actually was using one of the powders that comes in a pouch from Happy Hippo, and just dropped it into her water, and off she went, and she was just she was very happy. Let me just put it that way. And so myself, during the workday, if you guys didn't know, I have a big boy job. I work in contract management, and I need that balance. I need the energy during the day, and they have something called Hyper Hippo and an energy shot. And those energy shots come in those little tiny bottles. You guys are familiar with it from other brands that use that type of packaging, but there's nothing like this. All right. This energy shot, I take it, easy to take, and within minutes, I feel the effects. There's no massive crash after I take it either, which is a huge deal, right? How many energy drinks have you taken and coffee have you drank throughout the day that just leads to the massive crash? Well, this doesn't. And it's an all-natural herb. And I'm telling you right now, it will help you get through your day. It can help you relax, depending on the type of product you're looking for. Happy Hippo delivers. And guess what? Right now, if you have an order of 200 or more, you can get free next day FedEx shipping. And also their stuff tastes great. So check out happyhippo.com. Support the WWE podcast and Happy Hippo. And do yourself a favor as well, guys. I'm telling you right now, if it can help my wife go to sleep, for somebody as anxious as she is and as somebody that needs as much energy as I do during the day to do this podcast and to do my job during the day. And right now, you can save 15% on your entire order by using promo code WWE15. That's right, WWE15 will get you 15% off of your entire order. And starting August 28th, they are having their largest sale of the year on their Hyper Hippo product, 40% off. So you'll definitely want to check them out then. But anytime you can use WWE15 as your promo code to get 15% off your entire order. Check out happyhippo.com, whether you're trying to relax or whether you need energy or balance during the day. Happyhippo.com. All right, let's talk about LA Knight here. So what I think could happen is, since The Rock is tied up with Roman at 40, and they want to make that as big of a match as possible, they'll probably have the title on the line. They probably will, with Roman and Rock. I think it's a bad move. I think it's ill-advised because, as I mentioned many, many moons ago, when you have the title on the line against The Rock, you know The Rock's not winning. Therefore, the outcome is extremely predictable. Now, they could do something wild and, the fans think they know, we're going to swerve them. It's not the right guy. Even as a shock to the world, oh my God, The Rock's champion again, as they did with John Cena back, 10 years ago. It's not enough for me to say The Rock's the right guy. He's not the right guy. He's the opposite of what you would put down on paper as somebody you'd want to beat Roman's streak. Rock would gain nothing. It would all be for nothing. So that means that The Rock is losing that match. So that leaves you like, well, where's LA Knight going? If he wins the Rumble, what's happening? Because you can't have Rock and Roman if LA Knight has won the Rumble. I mean, it gets very weird very quickly, right? So they could have him. If he wins the Rumble, face Seth Rollins. But right now, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins seem to be on a path to WrestleMania. So here's where things here's what things could happen. Now, the only possibility of LA Knight grabbing that championship is if it's before WrestleMania. But if you're going to have LA Knight win the Rumble, he can't face Roman at WrestleMania because it's one-on-one with The Rock. So this is probably one of those things, guys, that we're going to have to be even more patient with LA Knight winning. So if The Rock loses, here's my prediction. Now, I'm not sure what LA Knight's going to do at WrestleMania 40. I'm not sure. But The Rock loses. Roman remains. It's the SmackDown after after WrestleMania, or maybe Roman Reigns shows up on Raw. And that's when everyone's booing Roman and all that. And then LA Knight comes out and challenges Roman Reigns. Now, that could happen. The crowd would pop for that. But then who wins the Rumble? The Rock to face Roman? This is a weird conundrum. Let me know what you guys think. I'm actually curious, guys. How would you book this where LA Knight is on the rise? It could reach a perfect boiling point by WrestleMania. But you have Rock Roman locked in for WrestleMania 40. What do you do with Knight if he wins the Rumble? Or do you not have him win the Rumble? It's almost like The Rock is inadvertently hindering the perfect progression plan that would have otherwise been in place if The Rock wasn't facing Roman at WrestleMania 40. And as we know, Roman Reigns is on every 14th SmackDown, so it's difficult to get a promo going anyway, a program at all. Now, I'll be interested to hear your thoughts. Let me know. The other thing is Roman Reigns here, barring a injury that he has, okay, which apparently he has, but even if he does, it's irrelevant to my point because he wasn't injured from WrestleMania to SummerSlam and he didn't defend his belt once between that time, other than, again, until SummerSlam. That was a 4-month window. Now he's going to go from SummerSlam to Survivor Series, or rather the Saudi Arabia, I think, Crown Jewel event in November. That's another 3 months. So get this. In 7 months span, Roman Reigns defends his belt twice. One of them was to an immediate family member. The other is a yet-to-be-named outside star. So it gets worse. In 7 months, he defends his belt against one person outside of the bloodline. It's inexcusable nonsense. It's inexcusable. I don't want to hear, oh, he's injured. He wasn't injured between Mania and SummerSlam, and he didn't defend his belt once between there. Again, this isn't on Roman. This is on the creative plan for Roman, on the whole that side of things, management side. This is getting to the point where it's embarrassing. I don't want to hear, well, when he's there, it feels more special. We're way beyond that. We're way beyond that. Yes, it does, but who cares? Who cares? That juice has been squeezed out. We understand that. And sure, it still does feel important when he's on the show. I understand that. I get it, but this is not the 1970s anymore, okay, where you have the NWA champion traveling from town to town to town, and that person only comes through like once every 6 months. I understand that. This is a different world now. I don't want him on every show. But for the love of God, how can somebody tell me right now it's a better idea to have Roman Reigns put his belt on the line against one person outside the bloodline in 7 months? Explain that to me. I don't want to hear this he's more special when he's there. That's long past its shelf life. Gone to me. Yeah, that still exists, but that is at this point, to me, a diminishing return. Where there is no return anymore to that. It's minuscule, microscopic. It's to the point where that's the most important championship in the company, and it's not even visible. Nobody's talking about it on SmackDown. The people that should be talking about it aren't. Yes, we got LA Knight this past week, which was an encouraging sign. But this has got to stop, and it is hurting Roman Reigns' title reign, I think, because he's inflating his numbers egregiously. This streak is being inflated by these massive chunks of time where he's not defending the belt or not showing up. Okay, it just is. I mean, you can't have somebody saying they're having a 3-year run and they're showing up, especially over the last 12 to 18 months, which is really where I'm focusing here. And all of a sudden you're just like, wow, they've been champion for 1,000 days? I would say, yeah, they have. What have they done the last 18 months again? Defended the belt how many times? And since this past year's WrestleMania, how many times? Is he on? It's just. I'm sorry, guys. It's. I've reached the boiling point with it. I'm done with it. I'm over it. I don't care that it's more special when he's there. That's not an excuse anymore to me. That's not enough of a benefit for me to say, oh, okay, yeah, that's true. It is more special when he's there. You can work that for like a year. It's been 3+ now. I'm done. Not that I don't think Roman is good as champion, or not that I want to see him drop it, but he needs to start showing up more. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no excuse in the world that would make me change my mind. There. A little bit of a rant. All right. Let's continue on here. We got Pretty Deadly backstage. They're coming back soon. The whole injury here was it Kit Wilson, who was in a wheelchair, even though he hurt his shoulder, was kind of funny. And the whole yes boy and heel gimmick, they got it. It certainly is a heat-inducing gimmick. So that's a good thing. But yeah, the tag team divisions always need help, just by definition. So anytime you get depth in any of the divisions, men or women's, it's a good thing. Just assume they always need help. They just always do. Okay, so let's see. Backstage, we had Jimmy Uso, Heyman telling Jimmy Uso that, Solo told Heyman that Jimmy was making deals with the Judgment Day and causing problems with Cena, and those problems that Solo will have to solve. And Solo replied that he already knows what he needs to do and it would happen tonight. So it kind of leaves you with a hook of what's Solo gonna do. And we find out at the end of the show, which I'm a bit critical about the end of the show. I'm not gonna lie. So we got a Bayley with Dakota Kai versus Asuka match. Again, very nice to see Bayley in prominent, not high stakes, but highly visible matches, right? I have no problem with Bayley getting back involved in the ring, doing things that she should be doing other than just leading a group that no one has cared about in 8 months. So Bayley and Asuka had a sound match. It was 9 minutes. But this kind of reminded me of the first match here that was the opening match that we talked about, the finish of that. And that was the Styles and Balor match. It kind of reminded me of the finish here. And again, Bayley, Asuka, no concerns other than the fact that, there's going to be outside interference here. And boy, was there. So we got a Shotzi showing up in the crowd and chased Bayley back to the ring, who looked like she saw a ghost. And that allowed Asuka to take advantage and use a backslide for the win. Again, a very, very similar finish to the first match here. The backslide wins the day, I guess. And Asuka gets the victory. And then Shotzi chased back Bayley to the back. I'm not understanding why changing your hair is so scary. I mean, there's a lot of weird characters in WWE. And Bayley's scared of a little bit of a hair change in Shotzi. And she makes scary faces. Is she 12? I understand that she's supposed to be intimidated by Shotzi. I get that. It's just a little bit outside of the realm of believability when you have a grown woman on national television running away from a screaming Shotzi because she's got scary hair now. Oh my God, she cut her hair. That must really improve her ability to win matches. I mean, let's get serious. I'm not down on Shotzi or Bayley. I'm down on the dynamic that I'm supposed to believe that Bayley is so scared of Shotzi. I don't know. All right. So next week, Santos Escobar and Rey Mysterio versus the Street Profits is taking place. So that's a match I guess you can look forward to. And then we get the John Cena segment here. This was weird. And it may be the first time that WWE took away one of the biggest weapons John Cena has in his arsenal. Not the 5-knuckle shuffle, not his jorts, not his bald spot. No. I'm talking about his voice. And they didn't let him speak at all in this. And I'll get into that in a minute. So Grayson Waller Cena came out and Waller said this must be like a dream for him to be on the Grayson Waller Effect. And then he had a really funny line, though. He said that when he talks to grown-ups, he takes his hat off. And then Waller told Cena he needs some help and needs to be more like him and just sit back and let the stars shine. And then he started talking bad about the refereeing job that John Cena did at Payback. And he accused Cena of not wanting to be an in-ring competitor anymore. And Waller said he was the greatest of all time, and it's clear nowhere near the greatest right now. And Jimmy Uso came out, and just as John Cena was ready to take out Grayson Waller, Jimmy comes out and heads to the ring, and Cena walked up to Jimmy, who stole his mic away. He told Cena that Kangaroo Jack had a point, and that's the fact that nobody wants Cena here and everybody came to see him. And then he threatened Cena. He told him to get the hell out of his ring. And then Solo comes out and stepped right into Cena's face. He faked like he was going to Simone Spike Jimmy and then super kicked Cena in the face. And then Jimmy and Solo beat on Cena, and AJ Styles made the save. And we got a 5-knuckle shuffle on Jimmy. We almost got an FU, or rather an attitude adjustment on Jimmy, but Solo pulled Jimmy away to save him. So this was, again, this could have definitely used a John Cena promo. Now, he'll get to that. Maybe he opens the show next week and he's able to respond with nobody taking the mic away and all that. But it is disappointing when you don't get to hear John Cena respond, especially when he's in serious Cena mode, not the bow and tie, tongue-in-cheek, breaking the fourth wall, backstage clown, right? When he tries to play Pee Wee Herman, it's always a disaster to me. It's like the worst version of anything that I've ever seen. But when he's in serious mode, he's the polar opposite. He is a master on the microphone. And it is disappointing when he's in serious mode that they didn't give him a chance to speak, which is, again, very weird. But it's not weird in the fact that I don't see what they're trying to do of setting up the match. Just weird in that they took that away from him. You know, he's one of his greatest assets. It has nothing to do with his physicality or his body or anything. It's his damn voice. That man knows how to speak. And so that was a bit disappointing and frustrating as a fan. But maybe that's how I'm supposed to feel. I'm not sure. But it looks like we're going to have an AJ Styles and John Cena tag team match against Solo and Jimmy. That seems to be coming. I don't know when. Probably at Fastlane. I don't know if Roman Reigns is going to get involved. Paul Heyman is incessantly telling his iPhone in the wrong place to call Roman Reigns. I mean, does he not know that he can just, tap a button on his phone and it'll call? Paul, please, if you're listening to me, use your phone the right way. Okay? You're clearly, by the way, not telling the phone to call Roman Reigns, because if you were, Siri would be activated in which your screen would light up. Your screen's never lit up. And so that's strike one. Also, you continue to talk into the wrong part of the phone. The microphones are located at the bottom of the phone. Don't talk to the earpiece. Talk to the mouthpiece. It's by the charger. If you have an iPhone, which you clearly do, it's towards the bottom of your phone, Paul. So if you're going to do it, make it look real. It just annoys the hell out of me. Every week he's doing this, and he looks like an amateur. Like it's the first time he's ever picked up a cell phone, and he's like, how do these contraptions work? Gee, I don't know. It's like, bro, you're so brilliant on the microphone. You're one of the greatest minds in wrestling history, and you can't just perform a simple task with an iPhone that's been out since 2007. Come on, Paul. I don't know. I know I nitpick these things, but they continue to they're so solvable. All right. Anyway, let's move over to the Raw side of things, which also, feels like a million years ago. But as a quick reminder of what happened on Raw, we did get a Raquel Rodriguez Women's Championship match, and we had a massive return there. Now, I enjoyed that match more than it seems like most of you did. I thought it was an improvement over their Payback match. I didn't think it was blow away, but it was definitely better. And then Nia Jax returns and takes out both Ripley and Raquel, and Ripley does retain, though. The one thing, I don't know if you guys have seen this. I don't know how the hell I stumbled across it. Stevie Richards. You guys might remember him from Right to Censor, one of the most underrated heel groups of all time, I think, RTC, back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Perfect. Just love that group. More than I don't think I appreciated them in their time. I appreciate them much more now. But anyway, my point is, Stevie Richards went through piece by piece in a frame by frame, like as if you were sitting down and he's your teacher in a classroom. And he went point by point about how awful Nia Jax is or was in that segment. And it's brilliant. The thing she did, and I'm not talking about her career where she injured people, although there were several times in which, she injured Charlotte by accident and all that. When Nia Jax, and I'll just quickly tell you a summation of what he said. The Samoan drop that Nia Jax did on Raquel was unsafe because she literally did put all of her weight behind it. And also he criticized the fact that why even do that if that wasn't going to cause a count out? Like, why even bother? He said that was pointless. And then the whole Yokozuna bomb drop that she did. Now, I said a Vader bomb earlier. I meant to say it was Yokozuna, not Vader. Vader did something different. But she said that was unsafe because she let go of the ropes and then put all of her weight on the chest of Rhea and then slapped her around, which is just taking liberties. That I did see too. Now, the drop that she did on Rhea, I didn't notice it looked so bad until he went frame by frame and he called her out for it. And then, of course, he said, the whole slapping in the face, which was weird. So if you want to look that up, I'm sure it's available on YouTube. Just I know Stevie Richards did it. He went and talked about it, and it was a brilliantly laid out piece by piece dismantling of how unsafe that segment was with Nia. So I know a lot of Nia fans out there. I know there's many of you out there that listen to the show. I think that it comes down to this. Nia Jax is using her size to her advantage, and not just in matches and storylines, but I think in some degree in real life, because she obviously doesn't look like most girls, pun intended. She doesn't. And that's an advantage. She doesn't look like the highly athletic flip flop and fly, Charlotte doing a moonsault off the top rope type of wrestler. And she's not. And that's fine. That differentiates her immediately. And that's a positive. But the negative comes down to two things. One, I think she's had a lot of knee issues. Okay. She's had a lot of issues herself with her joints. And a lot of it has to do, she's carrying extra weight. Simple physics. She is. And that's just the way it is. And physics doesn't discriminate. So she's carrying extra weight, which puts herself in danger. And also, it's putting her competitors in danger because she's not able to time her maneuvers the way that most of the women that work together are. So the women often, I would imagine the timing is off because Nia Jax is a tick or two slower because she's carrying more weight. It's just the way it is. So I would actually anticipate, sadly, that Nia Jax is going to probably be involved in another injury incident before her run is up here. It's unfortunate. I'm not rooting for it by any means, but the fact that she's a higher risk candidate for it and her opponents are higher risk, it's probably going to happen. Again, I'm not predicting it. Oh, well, you said it was going to happen. Oh, see, she's been so safe. I'm saying in the near future, in the next, I don't know. I'm not going to put a number on it, but the next several months, she's probably, unfortunately, going to be involved in that with herself or her opponents. So, and again, Nia Jax, I get it. She's got a good look, and she's okay on the microphone. But hey, I don't know. If you like her, wonderful, good for you. All right, but boy, doesn't that feel? You talk about returns being overshadowed. Whew. I mean, I think people forgot she returned after the whole Rock thing. Okay, Gunthers Intercontinental Title Celebration. I love that. And I mentioned this on the Raw review. The dude is as sharp as a tack in a suit. I mean, he belongs in magazines. It fits him so perfectly. I would say if Cody Rhodes wasn't doing the suit thing, that we could have Gunther and Imperium do it. They all fit to perfectly. They're all about respect and all that. I mean, it fits their personalities too. But we got Chad Gable once again challenging Gunther, and it's probably going to happen at Fastlane. So I have no problem with this. They work well together. They have a chemistry that's difficult to manufacture. And it is also very possible the fourth go around here that Gunther loses. There's a legitimate chance this is probably the biggest threat to his title because he already crossed the finish line. He's already the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. They made it. So now it's no man's land. It's possible that he could drop the belt now to Chad Gable, and I have no problem with that either. Chad Gable is still a guy that his full potential hasn't been realized yet. So, all right. Let's see what other big ticket items happened here. We did get, of course, we got Jey Uso, who is main event Jey Uso, who is being not trusted by pretty much everybody on the roster. The Miz destroyed Akira Tozawa. Let's see here. We got Xavier Woods and Drew McIntyre, with Drew beating Woods in 9.5 minutes. We got Shayna Baszler and Chelsea Green, with Shayna beating Chelsea Green in under 2 minutes. We got Rollins and Shinsuke, with Rollins challenging Shinsuke once again, where Shinsuke keeps saying no and teasing Rollins. I don't think I've ever seen a program where the champion has to force a title match on his opponent. Never. But that's not a complaint. It's an observation. It's a weird dynamic. We all know what it's really selling here is Shinsuke wants to do this on his own time. He wants to be the one to choose when and how and where he takes the belt off of Seth. So, yeah, that's really what this is. All right. Let's see. We got Ciampa, Gable, and Otis beating Imperium in 13.5 minutes. And Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez, as I said earlier, Raquel Rodriguez lost due to a Nia Jax interference. And Rhea Ripley is still your current women's world champion. So, a hell of a week in WWE, one that I don't think we saw coming. I mean, if you told me a week ago The Rock would be appearing on SmackDown, nobody was expecting it at that point until it became apparent he was in the area in Boulder. All he had to do was go an hour to Denver, and, they made it happen. So let The Rock and Roman anticipation officially start to build here. Now, again, not officially announced, but you might as well at this point. And I think we can all talk about it as a real strong and likely, but not 100% locked in possibility. So, all right, everybody, that'll wrap up my week in review. I will be back tomorrow with the current state of WWE with Anthony DeMarco, and then Tuesday's the Raw review, Wednesday's the mailbag, and that'll wrap up my week. But we are really enjoying all the patrons that have joined the show over the last week or two. You guys have really, not only been so much fun to listen to and or watch in the chat, the Discord chat, but also you get to enjoy all the ad-free stuff, which is I know great, where you don't have to hear anything interrupt your listening. You just hit play and sit back, and I hope you're enjoying that. You can join those patrons starting at $1, and there's a free trial for every tier right now. So check that out at patreon.com/WWE podcast. You can go to Apple, which also offers an ad-free option. WWEpodcast.com is also a great place for your ad-free stuff. All right, I'm going to take a breather. I'm going to actually head to bed now because I am beat tired. And I will talk to you guys, what I'm going to say, next time. All right, it's time to give a huge shout out to the sponsor of today's episode, happyhippo.com. So if you guys haven't checked this out, you got to go to happyhippo.com because they have some of the highest quality kratom products that I've ever come across. And if you guys aren't familiar with what kratom is, it's an herbal substance that has many different uses, everything from a balanced mind to energy. It can help you relax. And my wife and I, over the last couple of weeks, have tried out some of their products. And I have to say, it has improved her sleep specifically. She's very anxious and her mind runs at night, and it has helped her fall asleep and stay asleep. She actually was using one of the powders that comes in a pouch from Happy Hippo and just dropped it into her water, and off she went, and she was just she was very happy. Let me just put it that way. And so myself, during the workday, if you guys didn't know, I have a big boy job. I work in contract management, and I need that balance. I need the energy during the day. And they have something called Hyper Hippo and an energy shot. And those energy shots come in those little tiny bottles. You guys are familiar with it from other brands that use that type of packaging, but there's nothing like this, all right? This energy shot, I take it, easy to take, and within minutes, I feel the effects. There's no massive crash after I take it either, which is a huge deal, right? How many energy drinks have you taken and coffee have you drank throughout the day that just leads to the massive crash? Well, this doesn't, and it's an all-natural herb. And I'm telling you right now, it will help you get through your day. It can help you relax, depending on the type of product you're looking for. Happy Hippo delivers. And guess what? Right now, if you have an order of 200 or more, you can get free next day FedEx shipping. And also their stuff tastes great. So check out happyhippo.com. Support the WWE podcast and Happy Hippo. And do yourself a favor as well, guys. I'm telling you right now, if it can help my wife go to sleep, for somebody as anxious as she is and as somebody that needs as much energy as I do during the day to do this podcast and to do my job during the day. And right now, you can save 15% on your entire order by using promo code WWE15. That's right, WWE15 will get you 15% off of your entire order. And starting August 28th, they are having their largest sale of the year on their Hyper Hippo product, 40% off. So you'll definitely want to check them out then. But anytime you can use WWE15 as your promo code to get 15% off your entire order. Check out happyhippo.com, whether you're trying to relax or whether you need energy or balance during the day. Happyhippo.com.
Thanks for listening to the WWE podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.